third episode of Games and Stuff and Things. It is Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. And this is going to be a very Helldivers-centric episode. I'm your host, Robert, and I can't do it alone. I'm with Brandon.
What's up?
Dylan.
Hi.
And Suhail.
Hello.
We're running lean here, which we got ready. We trimmed the fat, We don't have any guests. It's just the core group.
Matt was fat.
Morbidly obese.
Alright, so is this supposed to be a skull with like thick-rimmed glasses?
You're pointing at your
I
teeth. What are you pointing at, Brandon?
The tag on the tea bag.
Mm-hmm. The tea, that's who I made.
I don't know. I think they were just trying to go for some sort of like artsy kind of freaking tea thing. I don't know. They
looks like
in coffee.
It looks like a hipster sugar skull to me.
I would agree with that.
I kind of like it.
Have you had a chance to try the tea?
I haven't. I think I'm gonna hurt myself if I do.
Yeah, mine's hot as fuck.
So we're all drinking some Earl Grey tea, which is a black tea from Onyx. I'm pretty into coffee, but and I usually get my coffee delivered from Onyx. I noticed that they started doing tea, and that's why I got a little bit of Earl Grey. I'm sharing it with Brandon and Robert. Dylan didn't want any.
Very rude of you, Dylan.
Or did you not want to share it with him?
Maybe
he felt it.
I offered, but I think Dylan's just a true patriot.
Yeah.
Ever since the Boston Tea Party, he's sworn off all
tea.
He has PTSD.
PTSD.
Post-tea stress disorder.
But yeah, man, Helldivers 2 came out not too long ago, and it's been a blast. But I kind of want to get the bad stuff out of the way first. Like, it's been a rough launch.
And it's getting worse.
Yeah.
It's not getting better. Last night, I was launching to just a black screen. It's not even trying anymore.
Yeah, when the game first came out, I guess the population was like low enough that you were everybody was able to get in and play. You were experiencing crashing. You got something to share with the class or what?
I just burnt the fuck.
Well, that answers the question. The tea was hot.
I did hear that one of the problems that may be causing this...
Would you say it was a hot launch?
It was too hot. The launch was so hot. But I heard that some players are not logging out of the servers.
Oh, for sure.
So they don't lose their spot.
Yeah, which kind of is, I would say, incredibly selfish and ruins other players.
I saw the game said they're going to put like an AFK timer.
Yeah, it's strange that it didn't launch with an AFK timer.
Well, everything I've seen is that Helldivers 1 peak concurrent player count was around like 10,000.
Yeah.
This one is approaching like 400,000 just on PC.
Yep.
Oh my god.
They're getting a lot more traffic than they expected.
It's kind of cool how the game went completely viral in the same way like Pal World did, and Lethal Company in those games. It's like every video you see online is now a Helldivers video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a game that needs servers instead of like peer-to-peer connection. So
even outside the servers, man, it's just been it's a lot of crashing and disconnects and just like
surprisingly, I haven't had that many problems really outside of like server, like unable to connect to the server.
At first, the crashes were funny, but now I do feel like they're getting more consistent. First time I crashed was when I changed my clothes.
Yes.
The second time I crashed was when one of my friends changed their clothes and it crashed the entire lobby. It was funny at that point, but now it's getting to the point where it's like we're mid-mission, somebody aims their gun at the wrong thing and it crashes. And it's you have to think how much of that is server side and how much of that is just the game's code being kind of fucked.
Also, missing progression and currency is like such a buzzkill, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I've seen most of that does come back the next time you log in, but I can't really keep track of anything I've lost.
No, but like even for example, you were waiting for like 3 of the high tier samples that we were extracting out of, like, and you knew that you only needed those 3. Like, if you were to extract and then not see it right away to get the upgrade, like, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think more than anything, I kind of just feel bad for the developers, like, because I've seen them say that they're working, like, insane workday. Like, they're, like, desperately trying to hire more people because they did not expect the game to be so popular.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's like...
They already said they're revamping their roadmap based on the player counts that they got.
Which, I mean, it's cool. Like, I feel like it'll be cool once they figure it out. Like, I hope they're able to figure it out before the hype kind of dies down, you know? Like, I hope this game doesn't get a bad reputation because of that, because the developers actually seem to care.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they're actually communicating a lot with the players and everything. And, you know, it seems like they're just, like, genuinely overwhelmed.
I'm really worried that it's just going to become like when Fortnite got huge and all the staff was just overworked and the culture there became like, yeah, you have vacation days, but you can't take them or else you're letting down the team. So everybody's fucking working weekends and overtime and not taking vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a funny thing kind of comparing it to, like, I don't know, like if it happened at any other job, like imagine if like 1,000 people just walked into your job and wouldn't leave, like they spent the night there until you serve them, basically. Like, I feel like, you know, that's kind of what they're experiencing, and
they need their SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, like, I don't know, I hope they're able to get it figured out. I don't know, I hope maybe Sony can help them or something. I did see the CEO said the thing with Sony helping them is that, you know, the more people Sony takes over or sends over to help out them is people they have to take away from their work to help out the Sony people to show them how they do things, kind of, you know? So it's like even Sony...
So it's kind of easier to just do it with the Arrowhead guys instead of getting help from Sony?
Yeah, I mean, because he said that Sony's been supporting them, and it's like, okay, well... You know, they really appreciate the help, but it's not one of those things where it's like, okay, Sony sent over this whole team and now it's all fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, now we need to help out the Sony guys.
But it's been a really cool developing story because, I mean, like, the capacity it started at like 250,000, right? And then they worked to bump it up, and it just, every time they bump it up, it just like hits that limit like within 5 to 10 minutes.
What, they bumped it up to 360,000 and then 5 minutes it hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy, like...
And then now you look at Steam, I've seen 400,000, so...
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder what it's like on PlayStation, you know, since they're not as transparent about player counts and stuff like that, but, you know, if Steam's at 400,000, like I said, like...
You gotta imagine they're at least 200, probably.
Yeah, like, Helldivers 1, yeah, going from 10,000 to, what, you could assume at least, like, 500,000 right now, and... That's with all the server problems. Like, you know, imagine if they had, like...
If everybody could just get in and play.
Yeah, if it was kind of like Pal World, where, you know, if you could just connect peer-to-peer, like, and people didn't have these issues. Like, I saw the CEO said that he doesn't want people to buy the game right now because he would feel bad if they buy it and they can't connect to the servers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if it was like Pal World and the hype could just keep growing, like, how big could the game get, you know? Kind of like how Pal World reached what, like, I don't even know how many players it got, but it was insane.
It got up there.
I think like the second highest behind PUBG on Steam history.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, being stuck at a low level on Helldivers and like struggling to find games it would be a buzzkill. Like, luckily we've played enough that like we're at a point where we could walk away from the game and not feel like we're missing out, you know?
Yeah, if I was still, like, under 10, I would be upset and feel like I haven't gotten my money's worth, but I've gotten more than enough. I'm okay with taking a break, but I don't think that excuses the issues that are going on.
And, dude, it's only $40, which is, like, so awesome, man. I love these games that are coming out, Prince of Persia 2, that are just not full price. It's a blessing.
Yeah, so... Yeah, and I hope they do... I hope this crazy amount of success kind of allows them to support the game long term, you know, kind of like a, you know, like you said, a Fortnite kind of game. You know, I hope they're able to do it in a healthy way where, you know, they're not all insanely overworked, which I know they are right now. But, you know, I feel like this is probably a better outcome than the game launching and nobody played it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, then the game dies out like a year later.
I just hope it doesn't get a permanent bad reputation because they're going on 2 weeks of issues. So
I hope it's one of those long-term things where it's like, oh yeah, the first month of this game was rough, but then it's like 3 years down the line, people still play it, you know?
I think it'll do fine. I mean, this isn't the best, you know, start. But I think it's a good problem to have. If anything, like, this is... the hype for this game is not going to die down. Maybe if after a few months they still haven't resolved this issue, which I don't see happening, totally understandable at that point.
Well, they're either not going to resolve it. Well, they're either going to resolve it or they're going to let it drag on long enough to where the player count just naturally drops and they're fine at their current server capacity.
Well, I mean, I feel like the biggest thing for me is it's not like a Diablo Blizzard kind of thing where, you know, like, I feel like a lot of Diablo games have had really bad launches and, you know, where it's like this gigantic company cannot figure out this launch. You know, it's like, okay, it's a small company selling, you know, like a $40 game.
Yeah, it's a little more forgivable coming from
exactly.
as opposed to Blizzard. I see what you're getting at there.
Where, yeah, like I said, I feel like my whole takeaway from this is I kind of just feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for them that they're doing well, but I feel bad that it's, like, so insane. You know, going from 10,000 to 500,000. You know, it's like, imagine you work at McDonald's and 10 people show up normally and then 500,000 people show up one day.
And you have the entire convention.
And then, 50,000 people show up and you just have to stay there until they leave.
I will say that, like, unlike Fortnite or any of those other big games, it's like, for Fortnite to work, you need... It's a 100-player game, so you need, like, a dumb amount of people to be searching for matches at all times. But, like, you only need 4 people for Helldivers, so, like, even if the player count dies down, it's never going to feel like it, just because you only ever need a party of 4 max.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, you know, the first one was kind of a cult classic because it was a game that I think a lot of friend groups kind of latched onto, because if you have a party of 4, you know, like you said, you can play a whole however many games you want, where, you know, it's like, it's definitely very much like, oh, this is like my friend group's game. This is like the game we log on and play.
Speaking of the first, I would like to educate Suhel here, because you've never played the first or this one, right?
I did buy the second one. I just haven't been able to get into it.
Understandable, yeah.
Totally kidding about it.
Oh.
I would have believed you.
Yeah, that's pretty much the experience right now.
Yeah, so I do know that for the first Helldivers game, you guys absolutely loved it. And we're playing it years after release. So what do you think is different? Obviously gameplay-wise, right? It went from being a top-down to now it's like a third person. But what areas do you think that they've improved on?
Improved the atmosphere and the vibe of it, really, because
they doubled down on the whole democracy thing, and I like that.
Even just the combat itself, like the first one feels very arcadey because you can see everything at all times, more or less, because it is that bird's eye view. But like, now that you're on the ground and you're getting pushed by 3 different groups of either bugs or robots or whatever you're fighting, you're getting like flanked all the time, and it sneaks up on you in a way that the original Helldivers doesn't, because you just kind of saw it coming because you saw it coming.
Yeah, it was like the whole forced perspective type thing.
I think, to me, the thing that Helldivers does really well and a thing that like makes a lot of games like successful cult classics kind of thing is they make it fun to lose. You know, like I feel like that was the whole thing in Lethal Company. Like, it's fun to die in that game. Like, you're gonna die in Lethal Company like 90% of the time. And it's probably gonna be funny. You're gonna die in Helldivers maybe like half the time, and it's gonna be funny. You know, it's kind of like Dark Souls, like why that game is so successful, because it's enjoyable to it can be enjoyable to lose and then win afterwards. But I feel like that's like the really successful games are like when you lose, it's fun.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I love the fact that you can team wipe, and as long as you've completed the objective, it's still mission complete.
I feel like the best thing it does is like if you team wipe, or even if you don't complete a mission, it's not like you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like you're being punished for it. You know, which I think it's fun playing punishing games, but then it sucks when you get punished. You know, I love to reap, but I hate to sow. But, you know, I mean, it's like any competitive shooter, you know, that's why they get really popular, because it's fun playing a hard game, but then it sucks when you, like, lose, and then you lose your rank or whatever, you know. So it's cool in a game like Helldivers, you lose, and it's probably going to be funny, and you won't get punished.
I was very worried that, you know, like, the original Helldivers, since it was all on the same, like, plane, it was very easy to sweep a machine gun across your own team and accidentally kill them. Mm-hmm. But since being in a more action over the shoulder, like, actual mountains in the environment and things like that, everybody's on different levels, and you don't share a screen, so you're all scattered around the map. And I was worried that, like, dude, we're probably not going to team kill because, you know, like, everybody's just everywhere else. But, dude, like, literally within the first 20 minutes of playing as a group, I was on top of a building shooting a sniper. And I think it was Joel that ran up the stairs right in front of me and just domed him, dude. It was so funny. So, yes, those instances still happened, and it's hilarious the whole time, man.
Yeah, see, I feel like I said, I think it just has a lot of parallels to a game like Lethal Company, where it's like killing your friends is fun.
Yeah.
Watching your friends die is fun. Like, Helldivers has some of the most satisfying like deaths I've ever seen in a video game, and a lot of the animations are over the top without being like cartoony. Like, getting a grenade thrown at you and like ragdolling 50 feet away is so satisfying. Like, I feel like that's probably the funniest part, you know, like watching videos online is just watching people die.
Have you ragdolled while you're using the jump pack?
No.
It's very satisfying. You go flying.
I did see the developers say they like kind of treated it like a tabletop RPG when they were developing it.
Huh.
I believe they said, where they wanted the players to kind of like do their own thing and kind of account for that thing. And I believe they said that because I saw a video where they threw a grenade at one of the bugs, and then the bug jumped and the grenade bounced off the bug's head and landed at the player's feet and blew him up. So there, you know, it feels like, you know, in the same way you play Dungeons and Dragons or Baldur's Gate or something like that, like, you kind of have the freedom to do all this stuff, but then all the enemies react to it, and the world does crazy shit too. So, I don't know, I think it's probably going to be one of my favorite games of the year. I feel like it's going to be hard to top that. I feel like it'll probably have staying power too, just the way they build the game with the Galactic War and everything. Like, it's kind of built to have new content all the time. Mm-hmm. I think I saw them say that they wanted to put something new in the game every other week. You know, whether it's a new stratagem or a new mission, you know, because they added the mission of the extraction mission. Yeah, the defense missions with the robots. They said they wanted to at least add something like that every other week is their goal.
I didn't know about that. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, so I mean...
But I mean, eventually they're going to run dry on that.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, with the whole Galactic War thing, it seems like a game that's really set up to last, you know? It's not like the current viral game that's going to die out in a few weeks, you know?
There was a mission type in the original that it was a minefield, like a designated area that there's like 3 to 5 mines in this area, and you have to call down a metal detector and go sweeping the area for mines while it like beeps at you when you're like close. They added that after the fact, and that was a good addition. I would like to see that return.
Yeah, there's a lot of mission types that they didn't bring back. There was like the trains that you would have to escort.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a nightmare, actually.
I wonder if they're kind of saving it for some post-launch content, you know, like, because I feel like I think one thing that's pretty satisfying about it is it's not an early access game, you know. I think it seems like to me a lot of the problems the game has are all server related, you know, but all the content is there. I think that's kind of what happens with a lot of these viral games is they'll come out and they'll be in early access and then there won't be a lot of content and then everybody will just play through everything in a few weeks. You know, I think Helldivers really feels like it has a lot of content, but then it has a lot more that they could add to it at the same time.
It makes you wonder how much they're sitting on like right now at this moment. Can they just surprise drop like 12 more mission types, 2 races? Like how much do they have in the chamber ready to go?
But I'm pretty confident that everybody who has played Helldivers loves it. I have never heard anybody outside of like the crashes and server bugs say anything negative about it.
No, I went into work today and literally that's what a lot of people were just talking about. A lot of my coworkers were like, "Oh man, I was playing Helldivers and it was fucking crazy."
Yeah,
when I could get in a match, you know. But
it seems like one of those games that's reaching that viral point where it is hitting a lot of like
kind of
casual people, you know, like people who don't necessarily play. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that it's $40 too.
Yeah, I mean, it's an attractable price, and for people like myself who I didn't play the first one, I knew of it, and I know of this one, and I haven't gotten it yet. I definitely feel FOMO. Like hardcore. I'm like, man, I really just want to get this game. I want to experience what everybody.
We can play tonight.
Yeah.
So. But I think it's awesome.
Do you think we'll be able to get in? Like, I'm not trying to make it joke, like seriously.
Maybe. You just have to sit there for 2 hours and you'll get in eventually.
Oh, okay.
I will say that there's like nothing to really miss out on early days. Like it's gonna be there. It's gonna be the same, if not better, later on.
When you have more content later, they're not going to be rolling anything out. Maybe mission types, but like as far as they're calling them war bonds, they're battle pass systems. They're there to stay, so you're not missing out on anything.
They do such an interesting thing, and I forgot to put it in the review I'm working on. But everybody gets their first war bond. It's provided to you. Their war bond is their battle pass. That's the name for it, and it's a weird system. It's a point-based, like, you spend points and then you unlock the next tier.
That's kind of like how Fortnite does it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the point I'm trying to get to is that that's like the main progression. Everything else is like slight upgrades. You can buy the stratagems, but like it's simple, but the most complicated part of it all is the battle pass. So they give you one big one to teach you how to use it so they can sell you smaller ones later. It's so fucking smart.
Yeah, because there's the freed one, and there's the free battle pass and the paid battle pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the free battle pass and just with playing the game, you'll get enough credits to buy the paid one.
Oh yeah, I almost have enough to buy the next 2.
Yeah,
because they're going to be 1,000 each. I'm at like 1,600.
Yeah, I almost have enough to buy the paid one without paying for it now, which is cool.
I don't believe the paid ones will offer enough to pay for the next one fully.
No, they won't, because even the one that's in there right now, you only get like 300 out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's cool that you can find the premium credits like
in every match. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, so you can earn points by playing the game, and then these points can be used to purchase items in the battle pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the battle pass
awesome.
is all but the battle pass, the paid battle pass is all cosmetic aside from like incendiary and
Not
explosive
true.
guns. I
There's
think.
guns in there, which I don't agree with, but they suck anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, and it's
Do they at least look cool?
The revolver does, yeah.
that's the thing I want out of this game. I want them to do like crazy skins. You know, like I think that's the thing that could make the cosmetics really cool. Everything they started with is pretty basic Space Marine stuff, but like
How crazy do you want them to go, though?
Killzone crossover.
Okay, that'd be tight.
Master Chief running around,
Yeah.
ODSTs.
I mean, the Twitch drop basically already looks like Master Chief a
Master
little
Chief
bit.
suit, Killzone suit.
No, I could actually see them doing Killzone with what
Yeah,
they did in The
see?
Last of Us.
And it's Sony published.
That would make sense. Just spit on the grave of Killzone some more. That would be cool, though. I would love to look like a Helgen.
Yeah, right? Like, they need to do cool cosmetic stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's just fun. Like,
I'm not a fan of crossovers, but I'll take Killzone.
I want a Nicki Minaj.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Fortnite crossovers.
Can we get Cardi B? Since Call of Duty got fucking Nicki Minaj, can we get Cardi B?
It's interesting though that they've gotten a little crazy with the colors, because if you compare it to the original game, everything besides like
The ceremonial.
the ceremonial and like the woodland one, like there's very minor color change outside of just black and gold. But here, the battle pass offers like red, blue, white.
It's all over the place.
Well, I think the really impressive thing with this whole game, speaking of colors, is all the lighting and atmosphere, like sunsets that this game has. Like, this is the best Star Wars game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Like,
Even the soundtrack, it gives Star Wars.
yeah, like, you know, a bunch of robots will land on your position, and then you like an orchestra will start playing as the sun is setting on like a blue planet.
All right, I'm buying this game.
It's so beautiful. I
mean-
I wish my computer was better spec'd for it, but it looks
Yeah,
nice.
this is a game where I want like maximum ray tracing. Like,
I'm gonna have to get it on PS5 though.
I mean,
That's fine.
Yeah, it looks great on PS. Like, it's one of those games that just the whole atmosphere is there. Like,
And the crossplay works. We can play with you just fine.
yeah. So I mean, I'm really glad that I'm really happy the developers kind of went all out with it. And you know, it's one of those games that really just seems like they cared. Kind of like a Baldur's Gate, where it's like, okay, they just had fun making this, seemingly, because they put a lot of stuff in that normally wouldn't get thought about. And they took a lot of inspiration from Starship Troopers and Star Wars and all these Space Marine things. And
Terminator too. Like,
Yeah.
like when it's at night and you're on a robot planet and you see fucking red eyes everywhere, it feels so much like a Terminator apocalypse movie.
exactly,
That's
like
awesome.
they could do insane crossovers with this game because it is like all of the best marine shooter things put into one almost, you know. They could put a Star Wars map, they could put Terminator T-1000s or whatever, like Killzone armor, like, you know, it's kind of like the culmination of all these cool robot space alien things.
So like, what is the story? Like, what's the lore? Like, why are there Helldivers, and why are we fighting seemingly every sci-fi enemy ever created?
Democracy.
Yeah.
As far as like,
That's a very Space Marine-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
there's not really too much story, but there is a lot of like, it's more like a atmosphere and vibe than it is like lore and story.
Right.
Well, it's like a Starship Troopers where it's like purposely over the top. You know, it's like what Super Earth is at a galactic war with bugs and robots, and they're invading the galaxy, and the Helldivers are basically just Marines to defend planets and fight off the robots and the bugs.
It's also not democracy, it's managed democracy.
What is that?
Exactly what it sounds like. You only pick and choose who has a voice.
I mean, there's a lot of fun things. Like, again, I think they had a lot of fun because a lot of the, like, you'll find, like, journal entries throughout the map and stuff like that are all really funny. Like, there's the one that was the spaceship that was, like, blown up. Or it wasn't, like, a whole spaceship, but they're like, oh, we're transporting all of these explosive barrels. Maybe we should bring a fire extinguisher.
And then it's cut off. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Even the tooltip says something like, if an enemy ever tries to have a diplomatic conversation with you, don't listen to them. We can't believe their lies.
So, speaking of tooltips, even in like the ship upgrades, one of the upgrades in the ship is to give the workers hazard pay. That's all the upgrade is. They work harder.
In the store where you buy cosmetics, there's reviews for the like made up reviews, and there's a 1-star review. And it's the only one you see because everything else is 5 stars, and they also just say like random like funny things. But the 1-star review is by Redacted, and it says review under investigation for treason.
So yeah, purposely over the top military sci-fi.
So it's about as democratic as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, you can tell it seems like they had a lot of fun with it because the game is very funny, you know. And that's what it does so well, is it's hilarious, but then it's really intense, like you're getting swarmed by aliens kind of thing too.
The best way to put it is gameplay wise, and this is, you asked about the difference between the original and this one. Mm-hmm. Gameplay wise, this one takes itself a lot more seriously.
Okay.
But the tone is still just wacky as all hell.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, gameplay wise, they do a lot of cool things that a lot of other games don't really do. Like, one thing I really like is how you'll have your crosshair where you're aiming, but then you'll have that circle where your character is actually aiming.
Oh, the sway?
Yeah, which is really cool, especially, like, you can break your limbs when you get injured.
Oh.
So, like, but it's not, like, hardcore, like a game like, I don't know, Tarkov, where it's like, oh, you broke your leg. And...
So it's kind of like Fallout, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The whole game is, like, Fallout-esque.
Right. I was going to say, it gives me some kind of
satirical parody of the world. Yeah, of patriotism. And so, like, you can break your arms and your, like, aim will be a lot less steady. So you'll have your crosshairs where you're pointing, but then your actual, like, aiming reticle where your character is aiming will be, like, moving all over the place. And so it's, like, legitimately, like, one of the best shooters I've played in a while, too. Or the whole stratagem system.
So these Helldivers, are they, like, cybernetically augmented? Are they
just
regular dudes?
Yeah.
You're in power armor, yeah.
Okay.
So you can take some hits.
Okay.
But the stratagems, man, do you know anything about those?
No, you guys are saying all these
have you ever
words.
played Magicka?
No.
Okay,
man.
I don't play games.
Also Arrowhead, same company.
That's the
which
that's
again,
my role
like,
on this
give me a third person Magicka now.
Yeah, seriously. You know, which again is a funny... Magicka is this wizard game they made like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where, what was it? You could like
you
combine
the different elements to just make completely outlandish spells.
But it was, yeah, again, over the top and goofy, like, and it was really cool.
So like combining like water with earth. And
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. And you could also combine like electricity and water and just kill yourself.
Yeah. But
fun.
yeah, so stratagems, basically, anytime you want to call airstrike,
Another weapon.
yeah, supply drops, you know, when your teammates die, you can call in reinforcements, which is what they'll respawn as. You need to enter a code, which will be like...
It's like a Mortal Kombat,
yeah,
like fatality code.
Uh-huh.
It'll be like down, up, left, right, down, up, left.
I will never be able to call in any.
When you're putting these codes in, you can't move. So you need to get to a safe spot to take a knee. Well, I don't think you take a knee in this one, but in the first one you did, to stop and put the code in. So you get really fast with them.
Well, which is why it's so good, because, you know, it's like, oh, my teammates died. I'm the only one left. I need to enter the code to call them back, but I'm getting chased by a bunch of bugs, like... So you need to just run and like as far as you can, as fast as you can, enter in this code as fast as you can. Like it's just another element of stress. Like,
and then probably reinforce your team into the most unsafe area
Yeah.
you
Dude,
can.
I do that all the time because mine comes out so naturally. As soon as I see someone die, it's the same code as the first one.
Yeah.
So I could just push
It's
it out.
muscle
Like,
memory for us.
I can push it out no problem. But like I do it without thinking. So I actually throw him into the
Just
enemies.
straight back into the ground, yep.
He's in a worse spot than he was when he died.
Yeah, so stratagem's another thing that like is an amazing idea that I hope more games do, because it's so much fun adding another layer of pressure and stress.
Mm-hmm.
Even outside of like entering the codes, the airstrikes themselves are so like they're unique in their patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the 500 kilogram bomb, which is just a huge bomb which you make everybody run away from. That's pretty basic, but like the walking barrage, which you throw and it goes in a straight line away from you. It's supposed to, but it acts a little weird sometimes.
It starts a little bit behind where it lands.
But it's meant for you to like clear a path so you can just run straight through an army. And the strafing one, the airstrike one is like perpendicular to you. So if you have an entire wave of people coming at you that's like taking up most of your vision, like from left to right, you can clear all of them. And all the airstrikes have their own patterns. Like it's interesting to see tactical options for airstrikes in ways that you find yourself like, oh, this one actually works for my playstyle because I like to get in a lot of trouble and have them all trailing me.
Yeah, or if you're going against like heavy enemies and you need a bigger explosion to kill them all, you're gonna choose the bigger bomb. The game has some really good like slapstick moments too, because I was playing with a friend the other day. And, you know, throughout the map, you'll find hell bombs, which are essentially nukes. You'll find them, like, unexploded, and if you shoot them, they'll explode and essentially nuke, like, a huge radius around you. So we were doing one of those missions where you had to blow up the rogue spy facility or something, you know what I'm calling it? And so you have to call a hell bomb down to blow it up. And we called the hell bomb down, and we were getting chased by all these bugs, and we're like, oh, let's just shoot it, and it'll blow up. And we shot it, and it broke. The hell bomb just broke.
But there's also like in contrast to the slapstick moment, I found a hell bomb right outside of Extraction, and I had the idea of like, oh, they're probably going to come pouring in from this area, so I'm going to lay down mines next to the hell bomb in hopes that it goes off. And sure enough, as soon as we call Extraction, all you hear is in that distance, like, mines start popping off. And I'm looking up there, and I'm just like, oh shit, maybe like, I think they're all dead. And then just the sky lights up because they finally got close enough to the mine that was right next to the hell bomb and just kills everything in that area. It was such a satisfying feeling to just tactically choose to booby trap the fuck out of this hallway, knowing you're trying to hold out a defense position over here. That game's full of stuff like that.
That's smart.
And also
Really
it's
smart.
it's goofy as fuck too, so like I genuinely couldn't ask for a better follow-up to Helldivers 1 because it's crazy. How many years ago was this? Like, it feels like 9 years ago.
Yeah,
Something like that.
It was what, PS3, right?
No, it was PS4.
PS4.
I think it was, what was it?
It was on 3 and 4.
Yeah, so like
Was
at
it on
the I'll double check.
It was on Vita.
Yeah.
Yes. What was it, like 2015, maybe?
I think
15
that's
or
right.
16?
2015. So
15, of course.
Dude, 9 years, man.
March 2015, so almost 9 years ago exactly.
Wow.
But ever since the day that I played it, I've been in love with this game. So like constantly, I'm pretty sure I bought this game like 6 or 7 times, like 2 for myself and the rest for other people.
Yeah, so yeah, it's awesome that the game did so well,
Dude.
like, and that they did so well with it.
After 9 years, I'm like, they did it. It's here. I can play it.
It's so nice to get a follow-up and it actually hits your expectations.
Exceeds,
Yeah.
dude.
So I told you it's the year of like weird random sequels. Like hopefully Dragon's Dogma 2 does the same thing for Dragon's Dogma fans. They're gonna be like, I've been waiting so long for a Dragon's Dogma sequel.
Or Hellblade.
Yeah,
2.
exactly.
If Hellblade 2 bombs, I'm already upset that it's not releasing on PlayStation.
It's
So, yeah, it's gonna be Xbox
They
and
get bought
PC.
yeah.
Oh. Was the original on?
Yep, it was PlayStation.
Sorry about
exclusive.
that. That's console battles.
Yeah, it's okay though. I'm just
Capitalism
happy that
got
it's
your
coming out.
ass.
But yeah, so I hope Dragon's Dogma 2, imagine it's the same thing where like the amount of fame and cult classic the original became, like hopefully that in a game like Hellblade do what Helldivers did and just go all out with it.
And those are all very similar titles in the fact that they were like culty games.
Yeah. But the people who love it like will never stop talking about it.
For sure, yeah.
I would love to talk about some other games, but I don't know what else we got, dude.
Well, let me tell you about what I've been playing.
Oh.
Nintendo Switch Sports.
Okay.
I heard you getting heated over
Pretty
it.
competitive.
I gotta say, the community is practically dead. Nintendo doesn't care about Nintendo Switch Sports. And what blows my mind is how much of an impact Wii Sports had when it first came out, when it launched with the Wii, and then you had Wii Sports Resort. I mean, it was crazy. Like, everybody was playing it, and I remember how, like, even, like, my older relatives were playing this game. Like, I had, like, decrepit old grannies playing the Wii bowling and playing the golf and everything. And it just reached a wide variety and wide audience. Nintendo Switch Sports is just kind of like, we did it again. It doesn't have the same ring to it.
I feel like the Switch is too much of a video game console. The Wii was like its own weird thing.
Just didn't work out there.
That like people didn't see it as like a video game console. You know, they weren't like, oh, I have to use a controller to control this. It was like, you point the controller at your screen and you press a button.
It had a scale that you would balance on and everything. It would be like, here's your BMI, burner, and like
that was crazy.
You know, like there was just so much that Nintendo did with it. And now with the Switch, it's definitely not.
So how does this work on the Switch? Are you like punching with the controllers, or you just
there's even
playing
a leg
game?
strap. There's even a leg strap where you put a Joy-Con on your leg and you're playing
You like
soccer.
kickboxing?
And you're kicking. Yeah, well, kickboxing would be fun. Also, it sounds like they'd get some lawsuits.
Yeah, quite a few.
People kicking their TVs.
Yeah, I think it's really fun for me because it kind of made me start gaming again.
That's cool.
Honestly, I took a break. I wasn't really playing all that much, and I was just like, I'm just gonna play something casual. It got that competitive nature. I booted up Ghost of Tsushima again.
Nice.
Just because I was like, I want to play Helldivers 2, but I don't have it. And I don't want to wait to like 2 hours before I can load into a server, so.
Yo, speaking of Helldivers 2, no, I'm just kidding. But, man, I felt like I had something, but it just left my mind. I think it was along the lines of like, have you played Ring Fit Adventures?
Yeah, I love Ring Fit.
Honestly, I haven't.
It's really cool.
I've seen nothing but good things, but it kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost kind of looks like that. Do you guys remember that Legend of Zelda?
The crossbow training?
Yeah! You remember
I
that?
never owned it. It just looked funny.
Ring Fit is a really cool exercise video game. They made a really cool one of those because, you effectively get this, like, resistance band,
Man, that thing is so... Oh, man.
It's just a big circle that you have to either press in or press out to exercise, more or less, and...
It gets some good muscles in you. Like, for instance, it has you pick it up above your head and then pull out. I have never done anything that requires, like...
That motion.
The downward part of a jumping jack, you know? Like
it's just like resistance band training, because, like, you'll put it between your behind your head and just push in repeatedly.
Yeah.
Or put it, like below your stomach and like push in repeatedly. Like, I don't know. It's really cool because then you attach your Joy-Con to your leg and you run through the levels and it'll tell you're running by your leg lifting.
Nice.
So you're basically just running in place to run through these levels, and then when you fight enemies, your attacks are your resistance training.
They're different workouts for attacks. That it's like an RPG at the same time.
I thought this was just workouts. I didn't know we were fighting people too.
Well, it's like, this enemy is his arms he's an arm enemy, so you have to use leg workouts to defeat him. So you'll like have to do.
This guy is weak to squats.
Yeah, well,
this guy doesn't like lat raises.
Literally, you'll have to do squats. It'll be like, okay, do 10 squats to defeat him. You know.
And it also, like, the better you do, the more damage you do. Like, it actually, like, it'll measure how deep you go into a squat. And
Yeah.
So if you do good squats, do you have to do less squats because you're doing more damage?
But it'll do more damage to you. Like, you can kill him faster potentially. But so Ring Fit Adventure, really cool, like, exercise. It's like all the Kinect games that they tried to do, but it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's also good feedback too, because it vibrates and you see your character. Like, when you get to the deepest part of your squat, it'll actually let you know both
Throw that
physically.
ass in a circle.
I think then, like, your character, like, lights on fire or something like that once you're doing, like, the really intense versions of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. It probably
Nintendo
doesn't apply to
memory
most people, but if you can't run because you live in an apartment, there's one where you travel by squats instead.
Oh God,
it's pretty rough. That's what I did because I was on the second story and I was just doing squats for like 30 minutes, dude. It sucked.
I would have died after the first squat.
Great game. Speaking of sports, I started playing the new Madden because it came out on Game Pass.
Ooh.
I stopped buying Maddens because I like football, but they're this very similar year to
you
year.
don't like playing the same football game over and
Yeah,
over?
but this one's actually kind of different.
I have trouble believing you. How would you say it's different?
Well, granted, I play on PC, and PC doesn't always get all the updates.
Really? That's so messed up.
Well, especially with the big sports games, you know, like, there's not as big of an online community, and the people that do play online cheat, usually. You know, like, NBA 2K, like...
It's like real life.
Yeah.
I feel like sports games are definitely a console game.
Yeah. And, like, you know, like, NBA 2K, they stopped really updating it on PC because people would just create characters that are, like, 10 feet tall, you know, like...
I would have just figured that it's all crossplay anyway. Like,
well,
what's really blocking
I
it from
think Madden is crossplay now. So it actually got all the updates that console is getting. And,
Okay.
like, I don't know. So I'm not sure. Like, I think last year's version on PC was just an unupdated version from, like, 5 years ago.
That's right.
And I got 5 years worth of updates in one game,
Oh,
basically.
okay, I got you. So how are you digging it? You're liking it?
Yeah.
Any changes that you're into?
I mean, graphically, it's a lot better. It feels a lot better. It feels more, like, realistic, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to describe it, but it's one of those things that if you play these games frequently, you'll notice the small changes.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't mean much to people that don't play sports games because you're like, oh, they added a left-handed football. Oh,
Yeah,
cool. But like if you know the games, then you know the differences.
basically.
I get you.
And yeah,
Updated rosters and things like that.
Madden's really disappointing because
It's not a good thing to say when you're trying to hype a game
well,
up.
so I mean, up until like now,
Actually, I retract everything.
everything I said was a lie.
I'm being paid by EA right now.
No, but I mean, like, if
I lost my
you
script.
know.
Sorry.
I think it's been generally considered that, like, basketball games are better because 2K makes them, and Madden is, like, because companies have exclusivity for sports games, and I think Madden's been underwhelming a lot of people for the last 10 years or so.
So this is like a big step in the right direction.
Yeah,
Bring back NCAA.
they are.
They are?
Yeah.
What?
They
There
said-
you go.
Well,
All
see,
right.
That's
See?
what
that's
what you're
why I'm
hyped
wondering,
for.
like, maybe they made it better because they're making an NCAA game this year.
Okay. There we go. See, I demanded it, and they're making
Yeah,
it.
they listen to you right now.
Yeah.
They're like, we need to get this guy back in the video game.
I just remember playing NCAA 2005 on the original Xbox. Man, I made my own university called Neanderthal State. It was based in Alaska, the biggest state. And you can, like, I made every single player on that team the max height, which I think was like 6'10" or something in that game, or maybe it was like 7 foot. It was something ridiculous. So everybody was the max height, everybody was the max weight, and then you can customize their stats. So everybody had like a 99 in running, a 99 in passing, a 99, like everything. So it was just like this indomitable like force and
Super soldiers.
Yeah, man. I won a lot of games that way.
Yeah, see, like those games were just so like goofy, like the mascot modes where you just played as the mascots. Like, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, they stopped making the college football games in 2014, I believe. If you look on like eBay, the last year that they made, the game will sell for like $200.
Oh man.
Because like, yeah, that was the last one and people just want to play it still. I did download an emulator, I think a few years ago, because a friend of mine and I wanted to play it. And it's still great.
What was that? I think it came out on the PlayStation 1. Maybe it was like this NFL game, but you could like just beat the shit out of the other player. Like
Blitz?
after you,
Blitz the league.
Blitz was classic.
Yeah.
Well, so like Blitz used to be arcadey.
Yeah, I remember N64 Blitz.
Yeah, exactly. And then, everything got gritty in like the 2010s.
It was such a weird time.
So they made Blitz gritty and they made it like, oh yeah, this guy does steroids now.
Yeah, when your players got injured, you had the choice to either send them off or just shoot them with steroids
Well, that
on the
was
field.
that was like Mortal Kombat football because they would like show players breaking their bones and stuff like that.
Yes, they had X-rays. When tackles got hard, you literally saw like fingers and forearms break.
Do we know if they did that before Mortal Kombat did X-rays?
Man,
Ooh.
and Blitz,
Who pioneered the
did
X-ray?
Blitz pioneer X-rays?
I think they did. I think so.
Though, yeah, I mean, man, that's insane. I don't know how they thought like, oh, what does a football game need? More drugs and violence
And injuries.
Yeah.
We need a-
Especially in an era where like the world, like our parents, and like all these other people were trying to get rid of video games because of drugs and violence.
What do we
They were
need?
like-
More violence.
like, hell no.
Get the degenerates
Yeah.
in here,
Well,
please.
especially, so people, were concerned about violence in video games, and then
Yeah.
people are also concerned about violence in football. Like, they're like, oh, all this
good
research
sports,
coming out about the brain damage and stuff like that. They're like, well, let's make it more violent with drugs, and it's
The
football.
cheerleaders are prostitutes.
I think
Okay.
that, they sexualize the cheerleaders a lot, too. Like,
It's a horrible game.
what an insane game. Man,
Shame on them.
the 2010s were crazy.
That was very uncomfortable to play that game.
But
think-
it's hilarious. Sorry to interrupt.
no, you're fine.
It's hilarious how Blitz went from like the silly arcade football game where like, oh, you can tackle people after they blow the whistle, to this guy just tore his ACL and you saw it.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it on purpose.
You saw it live. Yeah, and then you smacked him in the face after that.
Oh, he's gonna go home and overdose.
The celebrations were really good too. Like for example, I remember if you scored a touchdown, you could like do this celebration where the ball, you would spike the football, but it would be like the camera's point of view of the football. It would be spinning, and then it would turn into a pod, and you would be diving into Helldivers 2. And then from there, you just play Helldivers 2.
And turns out all the football players are robots.
Yeah.
That's how you made your super soldiers. They were just Helldivers.
We're going to take our first break. We'll be back with some news. See ya. Welcome back to Games and Stuff and Things. We're in the news section. Got a few topics to hit on. Nothing too crazy. A bummer to start off. Y'all heard of this Embracer group? We talked a little bit of mess about them last time.
I think
Oh
you say
boy,
that every
have I.
time you introduce that.
Embracer has... Damn it, I just had it up. There it is. Embracer had a restructure program initiated June 2023. Since then, they have canceled 29 games and have 1,400 layoffs. Sad stuff. Crazy Taxi reboot is going to be, here's a bunch of buzzwords, AAA, live service, and will feature a 100-player survival mode. Do y'all know what Crazy Taxi is?
Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
Crazy Taxi is a arcade game it's basically like Tony Hawk, but you're like a taxi.
But yeah, it's a
Oh.
time trial game where you have to pick up as many people as fast as you can and drop them off at their locations as fast as you can.
So it's like an Uber simulator.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's probably what the
crazy
reboot will
Uber.
be.
If there was like no laws to your driving, yeah.
So it's like Simpsons Road Rage.
Yeah.
Well, because I think it was like an arcade game. It'd be like, okay, put in 50 cents and you get like 60 seconds to deliver as many people as fast as you can.
What's interesting too is like they made a couple of songs like super popular. There's an Offspring song and I forgot the other, but they sold out hard. They advertised in there, so like there was a Pizza Hut in there and there was like a KFC. So I'm hoping that they sell out hard in this one too, and you take them to like Whataburger or whatever. But pretty fun game. Brandon or Dylan, you had something, right?
Yeah, there's a quote that came out recently from Sony, from their vice president, saying that looking ahead, the PS5 will enter the latter stage of its life cycle, which I feel like is pretty interesting. You know,
It is weird to think about that. Like, yes, consoles typically have a 8-year life cycle, but like nobody could get a PS5 or an Xbox
yeah, for the first
like 2 years in.
2-3 years. You know, now it's like you can finally get one. I think the more interesting thing with consoles having like a 7-8 year life cycle is that games take 7-8 years to come out.
Yeah,
now.
easily to develop.
To be fair, I think that a lot of the reasons why these next-gen consoles were harder to come by was because of COVID.
Oh yeah,
The
no doubt.
microchip shortage.
Mm-hmm.
The demand just could not was way more than the supply.
Yeah,
And I also feel like maybe this could become the new norm. Like these consoles are becoming obsolete a lot quicker as technology advances.
Mm-hmm.
well, I feel like that's the thing. In my opinion, is the PS5 doesn't really feel close to obsolete yet.
Right.
You know, I feel like the PS4 kind of.
I thought the 4 was fine.
I feel like the changes, I feel like changes in general in games are so incremental now. Like,
Mhm.
even the difference between the newest graphics card that's going to come out for the most high-end PC, it's like, okay, well, now you just have better lighting and better shadows. It's not that much.
You're squeezing out
Right.
like 10 more frames, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
And you kind of see it in the difference between, like, a lot of people have been kind of shitting on the Last of Us Part 2. What is it? Remaster.
Yeah.
Remaster, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we're basically they're like, all right, so this is the PS5 version, and then this is the PS4 version, and honestly, not much of a difference. Very minute, like but nobody's getting to that scale of everything. It was already pretty optimized.
I mean, I feel like it kind of gets into like, yeah, what do consoles look like in the future, you know? And going back to games taking so long to make, the PS5 didn't get an original Naughty Dog game, I don't think. It only got remakes and remasters, basically, which would suck if that was it.
Yeah.
Like, if there was only just Naughty Dog remasters on PS5.
Right.
I feel bad for developers that might have something like hidden away in the closet that they're planning on releasing in maybe 2-3 years, and then they're like, oh yeah, the PS5 is ending. Now they have to completely change their development if they want to keep up with whatever happens next.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm curious what a PS6 looks like, because, like, I don't know. Like,
What more can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Xbox is definitely going to win now because now they can actually call it the PS Sticks.
Also, Xbox will just win because they'll just transform fully into PC.
I feel like the future of consoles is going to begin with modular consoles where you can modularly add different things.
Do you mean
fans
like
in
the
it.
GameCube?
And then essentially, and then it will literally just turn into PC gaming, and that is the natural step of evolution.
Speaking of consoles, speaking of GameCube, more consoles need like cool handles on them, like the GameCube had.
that's
It's
the true
funny that you
portable console.
mentioned
Mod
the
and
modularity because I watched a video earlier today about a guy adding as much as he humanly can to a GameCube. And there's like a Game Boy adapter, speakers, a whole screen, everything. It'd be funny if things go that way.
Well, I definitely remember, especially on like the older consoles, I mean, not that old, but I guess it is compared to what we have now. But like the original Xbox, right? Like it had the little DVD adapter that you needed to buy with the remote. I mean, the PS5 has a remote, which honestly, who bought that?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever bought the PS5 remote controller? If you have, is it worth it?
I wonder if if they'll become like phones where you'll get like, like last PS4, they had PS4 Pro or whatever. You get the iPhone Pro. But I don't know, at that point too, I don't know, I'm very curious to see like what does consoles look like now. Because they're so similar to PCs now. But I think PCs will always be their own thing because a lot of people don't want to get into the trouble of buying new parts and troubleshooting a lot of that stuff.
Right.
So I feel like they'll always be there for the accessibility, but...
And also for the price point, I feel like you would struggle to build a PC at the same...
But, also, how long... is the PS5 going to feel outdated? Because it's,
Dude, there's no way, right?
I think we're all in agreement that the PS5 feels fine. I feel like it's got at least another 3 years on it, at minimum.
If anything, they're just now starting to utilize, full power.
Right.
But, like I said, I feel like the changes in graphics cards are so marginal now,
Yeah, exactly.
The 30 series and the 20 series and the 40 series. The 40 series, you can run stuff,
What if they incorporate AI? Maybe that is the next gen.
Well,
the future ain't looking bright.
Yeah. I feel like one thing I've seen that was really cool and pretty unique with PlayStation was Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. Or even Ratchet and Clank, how they... in Spider-Man 2, for instance, the world moves so fast because they're using, the SSD and...
The NVMe...
Yeah, it couldn't run on PS4 because... I think I saw a video of somebody trying to run Spider-Man 2 on PS4.
It would load an area and then you would stop in time and then
areas
it would
loading that fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or Ratchet and Clank when you would go through the portals to go to the opposite end of the map. And I think I saw that running on a PS4 too. And it was okay, you enter a portal and then the game just freezes.
That is interesting to think about because because the PS4 and the Xbox One both they tried to cater to them for too long, it feels like. And they also didn't have the SSD, NVMe, all that fancy stuff that helps load stuff faster. So next generation of consoles will probably take way better advantage of that because both the current one and the one they're trying to support previously, the previous generation, both have that technology now. So they could probably do some wild stuff.
Yeah, but I'm curious too, I don't know. I feel like you talk about the PS4 being supported for so long, but it kind of makes it feel like where the PS5 hasn't had that many, games to itself. Because everything has come out on PS4 more or less too, aside from Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank.
I feel like everything that came out on the PS5 was kind of front-loaded. Early on, they had a lot of stuff happening, but now it's kind of died down.
Like I said, I think because games just take so long to make now. You make one game and you're not going to get another one for 5 years. Yeah. 3, 4, 5.
And that's being optimistic.
So it kind of sucks.
Scrolls 6.
Are you going to get one game from a publisher per console? And at that point, is it even worth it?
That seems like what it's moving into.
Is it even, it's is it even worth it buying a console at that point? If you're going to get a Last of Us 2 remake and one Ratchet and Clank and one Horizon.
It would be the third set of Last of Us games to come out on this next console. I think society we would have to go back in time and just make some changes so that we don't end up down this road. Because having another set of Last of Us games would really darken my view of the world.
When are we truly at The Last of Us? When are we done?
The last of y'all.
But I do think it's
Texas version of The Last of Us. The Last
it is in Texas.
I think Joel canonically is from Texas.
The game started in Texas.
Yeah.
But it's interesting thing, Xbox 360 games came out Halo came out every 2 years.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Every year, man. Every year, new Call of Duty.
Assassin's Creed.
We're
still
on
every
Call
year.
of Duty Modern Warfare 3 for the third fucking time.
But like back then, they were actually like cool because they were new. You know, and even Call of Duty isn't coming out yearly now because people got tired of it. Like, I don't know. It's like games just
Yeah,
take
they
so
said
long
they
to
were
make.
going to stop doing that, and then they did it anyway with 3.
Well, wasn't 3 supposed to be DLC? That
It was
they just
supposed to
turned
be
into a
original.
full
I
game?
think that's
I don't know.
speculation, but it seems like
It sure does feel like it.
Yeah.
The past couple games could have been DLC for them. I don't know.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see what a PS6 like. Yeah, where do you go to make it feel worth it to people?
Maybe with like the PSVR 2.
Yeah,
Maybe they're trying to like. Maybe that is
that could be
the
cool.
future.
Yeah,
Uh,
What, going heavily VR?
Dude, no way.
potentially.
I mean, I feel like the big thing is making it more accessible, which is something. It's it's the whole console draw is it's more accessible than PC.
Yeah, because like when VR like first came out like a decade ago almost, like I feel like it was like you needed to have this fully optimized PC and like super expensive equipment. You need to have cameras in your room and you need to have dedicated space for it. And now it's just like you have stuff like the Oculus Quest and like the not PSVR, which the PSVR like the first one was meh. But this one, the PSVR 2, seems really promising.
That would be really cool because I've always been interested in VR, but that's kind of my limit where I'm like, I don't want to have this optimized
All the extra
PC
stuff, yeah.
and it would be so much easier to just buy it with my console,
Mm-hmm.
But who's making VR games nowadays anyway? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a fad, and it
Kinda
has been
tapered
dying.
off. I
Yeah.
haven't thought about that, but you're right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's the thing because it's so inaccessible
Mhm.
that like people aren't making games for it because
They
nobody
realize
has
there's
it.
no profit.
It's the
And then
chicken or the egg thing. Like, you need people to buy the games, but the games need to be there for people to buy the headset. Like, they're both fucked.
I think if they made the more accessible version, like because I think it does get confusing. Like even for me, who I stay in the loop, but it's like, okay, do I get a Valve Index or a Meta Quest or, it's like they're so expensive and there's like 5 different versions of them. If Sony just said this is the PlayStation VR, and if you pay an extra $300, we'll throw it in with the PS6.
That's crazy. I didn't realize how much the PSVR 2 is. It's $550.
So
For-
an all-in buy
So the
in.
same cost as a PlayStation,
So
basically.
It's already
Pretty
over
much.
$1,000, but you haven't even bought a game yet.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that's crazy that that's with PlayStation. Like, if you
Yeah.
did that on PC, it's like $1,500 probably.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of talking about all this AAA nonsense. I want to hear about these quad A games. Skull and Bones director defending games saying that it's quad A instead of AAA. Y'all believe that?
What
Although-
even is AAA?
I don't even believe
What-
AAA is AAA.
Yeah, what is AAA nowadays? I mean, I think that I will say I do appreciate somebody who has so much enthusiasm for their product. But usually,
I don't know if it's enthusiasm. I think it's blind confidence.
call it what you will. Either way, he's trying to sell a product, and that's what it ultimately boils down to. I feel like these are just buzz terms, and I feel like maybe there's even some kind of like sarcasm to it. Like, this is quad A, like just trying to.
You'll
Yeah,
sell your
point out-
firstborn for this game.
Maybe it was just a joke. Who knows?
Hey, maybe the future of games is AA, like Helldivers, Like, these, like, medium-sized games that go viral and sell millions of copies.
Why wouldn't you go for that anyway? Because theoretically you can pump more out and have more chances of succeeding rather than putting all your eggs in one basket and hoping that the one game you put out in like 5 years is gonna take off.
But before the game comes out, you call it Quad A, piss everybody off, and ensure that nobody touches it. So it's just self-sabotaging at this point. That's
Maybe-
Quad A.
Maybe you were onto something, Robert, because like this as more stuff like Helldivers 2 and like Pal World and like Among Us and all these like trendy games that come out, They come in there, and I hope this isn't the case for Helldivers 2, but I'm only saying it right now because it is considerably trendy.
The thing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they come in seemingly out of nowhere, and they produce this highly popular game that just everybody wants to get their hands on, or everybody wants a part of it. And then they kind of like disappear, or they use that money and fund future projects. That would be the ideal case. But on the PlayStation 1 and like on these like older consoles, when gaming like first came out, there was like a no shit game that is literally now considered a mobile game, Frogger. That is literally the origins of Crossy Road. And all that game was you're just a frog trying to cross a road and avoid getting run over. And that game was amazing. So what if that is the future of gaming? Just these really fun, just like the heart of the game is just like funness. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing, they don't have these celebrity cameos in the game. It's just good, fun play from a small, dedicated team of developers.
You're talking like a real Ouya man over here.
Actually, I retract everything I previously stated.
No, I get what you're saying, though. If games just went for, like, being good and not a marketing statement.
No, I mean, I could see them. I feel like the future of games, going back to, like, PS6 talk, I feel like they will get smaller.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, because
the climate is also going that way anyway, because investors are genuinely scared of putting money into video games because it's been such a volatile thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're so big and expensive and it takes so long to make, and then you get games like Helldivers and Pal World that are, like, the most popular games in the world with teams that are, like, I don't know, probably, like, 10% of the size of,
I'm curious if we're, like, the gaming industry is experiencing something to what it feels like Hollywood is experiencing. Where, like, a lot of the good movies
have been done.
They're just remakes or remasters. There's sequels. There's, like, fucking Rambo 10. There's, like, all this other shit.
I feel like to an extent that's been going on. Like, you don't really see new stuff anymore. It's remakes and sequels.
And when you do see the new stuff, it's from these, like, small indie teams, and it's, like, amazing. Same thing in, like, Hollywood, like, with all these movies and everything like that. Like,
well, so sorry to interrupt.
No,
but,
okay.
Like,
just don't let it happen again.
It's the second time now.
You compare it to a series like Yakuza, like the Like a Dragon series, where they release games like every 2 years. And they've kind of become these, like, crazy popular games because, they're not, like, the most graphically impressive. They're not like, oh, the lighting in this game is going to blow your mind.
They're just wacky. It's a unique experience.
Yeah, they're original and they're fun, and the gameplay is probably going to be pretty similar, and, but it's like, okay, the story's good. We've added some cool side stuff, like, and you don't have to play all of them. I think those, like, games, I could see games going back to coming out every 2-3 years, like, at a fraction of the size.
I will say on the topic of, like, Yakuza sequels, like, I kind of wish that they took things that they already have. Like, my mind keeps wrapping back to Horizon Zero Dawn, because I really do love that game, but what if it was mission-based? What if you had a partner or a small squad and you did hunting missions instead of, like, a billion-dollar full story? Like, I feel like the gameplay itself is enough to carry it. All you need to do is just center the game around the gameplay. It would probably be much cheaper because you're cutting costs on voice actors and motion capture. Like,
you don't have to develop that entire open world. You just have these little subsections that are more catered.
Well, speaking of that, like, I really like Spider-Man 2, but I think I like Spider-Man Miles Morales just as much, if not more, which was, like, the smaller, like, half the size. Like, Miles Morales was, like, 10 hours long, where Spider-Man 2 was, like, 25. But I don't think those extra 15 hours really made it that much better than Miles Morales.
Yeah, you're just beating a dead horse at a certain point.
Because, I mean, it was a great game, but, like, kind of like what you're talking about, like, it was a Spider-Man story. That's fine. I don't think I need, like, a 30-hour Spider-Man story compared to, like, a 10-hour more refined story.
Honestly, the one thing, and this could just be my ignorance showing, but the one thing that's kind of turned me off to Spider-Man 2 is it just seems way too similar to the first Spider-Man.
Yeah, it is very
And-
like, which, yeah, exactly,
And the first Spider-Man is way too similar to Infamous. It's all just copy-paste.
Yeah.
And that was what a lot of people were saying with was it Spider-Man Miles Morales too. People were like, this could have been a DLC.
Well, it was. I think that one was like $40. Like, for some reason, I have really vivid memories of that game. I think because it was the first PS5 game I played when I got my PS5. So when I was playing Spider-Man 2, the whole time I was thinking like, man, I just remember Miles Morales game. But it was like, I think it was like $40. Like cheaper, smaller. But that is the best game to just like swing around and do nothing, and like it's the ideal superhero game. I think Spider-Man 2 isn't that much different from Spider-Man 1, which it kind of is exactly what I'm getting at, which neither of them are that much different from Miles Morales, which is saying like they're all really good, but kind of what Robbie was getting at with you really enjoying the gameplay of Horizon. Like, I really enjoy the gameplay for Spider-Man, and the story's good, but I don't think I need Spider-Man to be a 30-hour...
Not everything needs to be an open world thing. Give me more mission-based games.
So, like, Spider-Man was great, but it wasn't that much different from Miles Morales, which was, like, half the size of it.
But I just feel like PlayStation has plenty of IPs to pull from that, like, they already have the framework there if they could just pump out something small and light.
I think they need to bring back PlayStation All-Stars.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That will save it. It'll work the second time. And if it doesn't, third time's a charm.
Have they added enough characters to even justify it, though?
Astro Boy, or
They
Astro
don't
Bot,
need to.
Sackboy.
How about instead of like a platform fighter like Smash Brothers, it's an actual fighting game or like a kart racer? Anything else besides...
Well, see, we need to go back to the AA era of 360 where, like, Burger King had a kart racer.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was just making these small, like, games that they didn't know were going to be good or not. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a PlayStation kart racer back then, too.
I think
Mod Racer.
Yeah. Like, I miss, like, weird random games that just came out for no reason like that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You
Oh, it's my turn to
yeah,
interrupt you. I miss when
track here.
I miss when cereals like Cocoa Puffs included a little PC game. There was like this Cocoa Puffs video game that you just like put in your PC, and you're just like you're the cuckoo bird from Cocoa Puffs, and you're just like skiing down a slope, collecting all the Cocoa Puffs.
Chex Quest.
Yes, I was just about to bring up
You know Chex Quest?
No, I don't
So
think I played that one.
Chex took the original Doom, like, the original, like, Doom game on PC, and they basically took all the assets and turned it into Chex.
That's awesome.
You're like a Chex Space Marine.
I literally met somebody who, it was an old coworker of mine, and she was like, I talked about video games to her, and she was like, yeah, I used to play this fun ass game. She was talking about Chex, she was describing Chex Quest, and she showed it to me, and I was like, this is something else, right? And she's like, what? Yeah, this is Doom, and I showed her Doom, and she was like, what? This is crazy.
That's Chex Quest.
That's awesome.
It's literally just Doom.
Yeah, literally just reskin Doom with Chex.
I love that.
It was just wild to meet somebody who was so
Didn't know
disconnected. Not just that, but like basically played Doom but didn't know it was
Yeah,
Doom.
well, it's like, somebody saying like, oh, I love this song, and they show you like a cover. It's a cover of the original song, So I want to go back to that era where everything had a random game for no reason, and it's stuff like Helldivers, because then you get Helldivers, which is like this kind of, you got the original, which was this really small game, and then they made a sequel, which they did on a bigger scale, which is still very small compared to like Horizon and Spider-Man and all this other stuff.
We need Harry Potter Quidditch for the PlayStation 5.
Yes, yep. Tie-in
Bring it
games.
back.
We need more movie tie-in games, but not like Suicide Squad,
No.
huge
Ooh.
live service. We need like
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but like
Conquest.
but really random stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't need open world Lord of the Rings. That's a 50-hour game, you know?
I would love to see developers, of big developers that have hundreds of employees, take a strike team, like the best of the best, set them aside for, just pick at it and just make one really cool small game with the best team that you can put together. That sounds so neat.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like Spider-Man Miles Morales that came out, I want to say 2-3 years after the original Spider-Man. But it was kind of their smaller game on the PS5. And it was kind of the perfect game to hold you over for Spider-Man 2. I wish more developers would do something like that. This is our game. Kind of if Naughty Dog was releasing all these remakes, but they were doing it to hold you over for their next game. You know? If they were okay, The Last of Us 3 is coming out in 2025, but in between 2020 and 2025, we're re-releasing the original Last of Us. That would be cool.
We're putting out Tattoo Assassins. You ever heard of Tattoo Assassins?
No.
I'm pretty sure it was Naughty Dog's first game. It was a Mortal Kombat ripoff, and it was terrible.
That sounds cool.
I've never even heard that name.
I just want Spider-Man 2, but the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man 2, based off of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
But yeah, so Naughty Dog, it would be cool if they were doing these remakes, but we knew that something else was coming afterwards. Right now, we're just maybe they'll release another Last of Us remake.
I mean, that's kind of what Resident Evil's doing, is new game, remake, new game.
Yeah,
remake.
that's perfect. See, the Japanese developers, they understand it. Yakuza, Resident Evil, release something every 2 years, but do it at kind of a smaller scale to hold people over.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Resident Evil 8 Resident Evil 7 into Resident Evil 2 remake, into Resident Evil 3 remake, into Resident Evil 8, and then Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
You have something coming out every...
And now it's are we getting 9, or what are we getting?
You have something coming out every other year, and it was all really good.
Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
That's rumored.
Well, I wonder if that's what Sega's doing with Crazy Taxi and all the other games they announced, because they announced that they're remaking all of their old games.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool if they were all... That's why I hope they don't do live service, open world. I'd love it if they just did okay, here's a modern day Crazy Taxi done at a medium scale.
You said you don't want live service, but that's exactly what they said.
Well, I don't want that from Crazy Taxi. I want them to make a smaller version of it, like the original was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw an underhanded toss to you. Why do you hate Phil Spencer?
He says weird stuff.
Like what?
All right, so just recently he said, "Yeah, let's give a couple exclusives over to Sony." And I'm not a Sony apologist either, but I'm gonna call the bullshit what the bullshit is. So he gave a couple of really no-name exclusives that aren't gonna do that great, and then Helldivers 2 comes out, and he decides, "Oh yeah, no, I want that too." So exclusives are bad. You've been doing this for years. You can't just say, I'm a changed person, and then a week later start critiquing people. It's just... It's weird.
Well, at the same time, they announced that Hi-Fi Rush is going multi-platform, so I hope Hi-Fi Rush gets another boom of popularity because
Hopefully.
It's a great game.
It deserves it, yeah. But it's also still a game that no one really expects to do that well. That's probably one of the reasons it's moving, is because it didn't do well.
It's ironic, because they're sending all their smaller games. See, Xbox is exactly what I'm talking about.
And then he wants Helldivers.
All of Xbox's smaller games are the games that blow up. Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves has had a pretty long lifespan compared to everybody being disappointed with Halo. Xbox keeps trying to do these crazy big games, but then it's the Hi-Fi Rush that blows up. It's the Sea of Thieves. Can't even think of what else off the top of my head.
But even when you compare those to Helldivers, you're not on the same scale.
I would argue that Helldivers is definitely lightning in a bottle. No one expected.
No one expected it. Very true. Yeah.
But to be fair, the 4 games that are announced, well, they aren't announced. He just said it's going to be 4 games. All that is speculation. But
Is it speculation? I thought that was announced.
nah, that's all. Well, he specified it was 4 games, and he guaranteed that of those 4, it is not Indiana Jones, and it is not Starfield. Thank you.
Okay.
But dude, I of any CEO I will speak out. I will speak up for Spill Spencer.
It's announced.
Oh yeah,
It's Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded.
Okay.
Nothing big, nothing major.
Mhm.
Pentiment was cool. I
don't know what
not play the
Pentiment is.
whole thing. It was Obsidian. It was their last game. Another like smaller game. See, Obsidian does another like cool like small games.
Mhm.
Because Pentiment was a really well written kind of action RPG-ish, I guess you could say, game of, I don't know. It's one of those games you really got to see. But,
Okay.
you know, Obsidian does really cool. I'm really excited for Avowed, which kind of looks like their take on a smaller Elder Scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
I will say on Phil Spencer's behalf that like he just came out of a fucking year-long legal battle over Activision Blizzard trying to like tell everybody like, hey, we're not gonna be shitty, you know, we'll put games out for everybody. We won't gatekeep Call of Duty from Sony because they're crying about it. So I'm sure he's just sour about it all. But yeah, man, is that it? Any more?
Speaking of developers making weird decisions and the Embracer thing and all that, let's talk about developers being okay. Like Larian coming out and it was one of the awards, and they were saying, "Oh, we don't have shareholders. We do this because of the passion. It's not about financial decisions." And that's kind of more of a area that the industry needs to go towards, get the marketing out of it, and just make good stuff. And then there's also the Palworld devs saying it's okay to stop playing the game for a little bit. Whereas everyone now wants to focus on retention, they say, no, it's cool. You can take a break.
Yeah, I feel like that's a funny thing that always gets talked about is like, you know, especially with single player games, like player counts.
Yeah, it's so weird to bash player
I
count
know
on
it's a
single
big
player
thing
games.
that people made fun of Starfield about.
Yeah, and then it was like 3 months later. No, people just finished the game and moved on.
Yeah, exactly. Like people, you know, if you play a game really seriously, you'll probably play it for a few months, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. You know, I've always felt like Larian is in a really unique and special position where they don't have shareholders or anything like that, you know?
And to my knowledge, they're not like a huge developer or anything.
You know, I mean, it kind of feels similar to the Helldivers studio, Arrowhead?
Mm-hmm.
Where, yeah, Arrowhead's owned by PlayStation, I believe.
Yeah.
But, you know, they kind of have made these smaller games and work their way up to bigger ones, you know, like with Larian starting with Divinity and, you know, doing it on smaller scales and going all the way to Baldur's Gate, kind of like Helldivers 1 to Helldivers 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or even Housemarque at Sony, like they made, what was it? Retrogun, was it? Do you remember that PS4 game?
This doesn't sound familiar.
They made Returnal. Yeah, Housemarque with Sony. So they started with Resogun.
Oh, Resogun, the ship one.
Yeah,
it was
like
I
the
remember
side-scroller
that.
shooting game.
Didn't that release with the PS4?
Yeah,
Okay, I remember.
They
Resogun.
started with small games like that, and then they moved up and made Returnal.
Oh, that's the same developer?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I love seeing like smaller studios kind of just hone their craft until they make like something big like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I will say on the part about retention and all that, like companies need a metric to like show to shareholders and prove like, people are either buying or playing or spending money or whatever. They need a number to fall back on. It used to be sales, but when sales numbers get weird, they fall back on retention.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying, like, everybody's chasing some number.
And that's just a wacky thing to base games on. It's like basing movies on retention. Like, you're not going to stick around and watch it over and over.
Well, especially because the only player count we officially get is Steam. They're the only ones that are like transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh yeah, this player count dropped off 3 months on Steam for Starfield, but it's like, okay, maybe a majority of people are playing that on Xbox or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we all good on news, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brandon, what are we doing during the break?
Oh, we're going to watch a trailer for Kingmakers because it looks crazy.
So we'll be back in just a sec. Man, that was so stupid. We're back. We just saw a Kingmaker trailer. I saw this time and I was like, man, that's short. But that was filled to the brim, dude. I don't even know where to... It starts off with medieval knights, like armies fighting each other. And then they're talking about you, the player, and then like hyping you up. And then the camera changes to the third person car and you're just mowing down dudes in a pickup truck. It's fucking weird, man.
Honestly, I love it. I think this is almost kind of perfect because we are talking like I want like something unique. I want
Niche
something
and
fun.
unique,
You know?
yeah, there you go.
And it seems like somebody took the concept of like, what if King Arthur had an Apache helicopter, you know, or whatever, and like literally made a game out of it. You know, so it definitely it seems like it'll be really fun, and it also seemed like it's kind of to prevent the outcome of some kind of future, if anything.
Yeah,
So,
some weird futuristic.
yeah, like you're like going back in time. You're one of these like kingmakers, so to speak, trying to go back in time and change the course of some kind of historic battle.
That's basically what I read, is you're going back in time to save your future. But I don't know what you're saving it from.
If Hitler wins here, everything goes wrong. So we're gonna go back in time with pickup trucks, rifles,
Grenade
because
launchers.
I mean, why would you match their times when you have superior firepower? You win. You can guarantee it.
There was a game
It
like
looks so
that.
stupid. Though. I love
Darkest
it.
of Days.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever seen Darkest of Days? It was a terrible
No.
360 game.
You're
but,
a time traveler, and
yeah.
you would travel to different time periods, right?
You get recruited by like a squad of time travelers, a very small group. So you're getting like AKs and going back to like cowboys and Indian
Yeah,
days.
totally.
Oh, actually, I do remember.
Yeah.
It was real bad.
Yeah.
But it was funny. See, we
It
need
was a
more.
good concept.
We need more small, stupid games like this.
That looked pretty intensive on as far as like how my computer can't run that.
Oh, no, no.
Oh,
at all.
definitely. Because it also seemed like it showed some like real time
It
strategy.
did, yeah. And I'm wondering
elements.
how in depth that part of it goes, because they mainly showed the third person combat,
Right.
but there was little teases of
Like Brutal Legend.
village building and commanding your armies. So
Yeah.
how in depth is that going to be? Is this like a story driven thing? Is this drop in, play a battle, drop out? I don't know.
Or maybe it's kind of like Bannerlord, where you kind of do like
it was
a
compared to
pre-battle.
Bannerlord, yeah.
Okay.
Bannerlord with rifles.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It looks
I'm
sick.
hyped.
It was so weird though. I don't know.
That curveball feels so good. You don't expect the truck to
Yeah,
come
definitely,
into
yeah.
the battlefield.
I was literally thinking this is going to be like some kind of like Chivalry 2.
Yeah, you
or
think it's just like a
Mordhau or-
lame RTS, a medieval RTS? No.
Yeah.
Here's a Ford F-150 mowing down people
Boom.
in
That's
ironclad
awesome.
armor.
Yeah.
The grenade launcher, like shooting people as they were trying to raid your castle, looks so cool, man. But yeah, we're gonna move on into questions. Just got some random topics to bring up. What do y'all think of auto driving cars? And if we as a society, or at least here in the U.S., were to give up our rights to drive, to make AI or automatically driving cars just everywhere. That's all you see.
You're putting way too much faith in AI there.
Yeah.
AI, no, that's not what I'm going for, but just auto driving.
Well, yeah, I mean, same concept. You're just putting too much faith in technology.
Yeah, I don't think I trust companies enough to do that well.
Let's say that it's not perfect, but it cuts the accident rate in like a fraction.
I think at this current state with technology, I have my reservations, and I don't think so.
I mean, maybe I'll be the old person that 50 years from now I'm still driving my car while everybody else is self-driving.
It'd be like what is that movie where basically everybody's using like the automatic cars and everything, but he has like a gas powered.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm thinking of iRobot, but that's
I was
not
thinking iRobot
similar,
too,
similar.
but it's not. Is it? Never mind. Regardless, I feel like the automobile industry is way too vast to kind of incorporate this, at least anytime soon, because a lot of people like there's the car culture, right? There's so much that goes into that.
Let's say that you can still have a car, you just have to order and pick up like a tow truck Uber to take your car to a designated racetrack. And you can still like meet people there and race and...
No, I get the car culture thing and culture in general, because I feel like electric vehicles are having like a hard enough time.
Because electric... Alright, now we're getting political. I think electric vehicles are done. But it's probably not for the reasons why you think I do. I would say, actually, this is totally not where I wanted to go with this, but we're here. Electric vehicles are killing the planet, and we're going to run out of lithium. There's no way a majority of people can have one. We'll just run out of the resource too fast. I think hydrogen is the right way to go, because it's still an internal combustion engine. Your car still goes vroom. You're just giving up some horsepower, but it's also zero emissions. So, like, it's just a way cleaner way to go. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
I think that there is maybe like Nikolai. I think was like kind of like a Tesla ripoff, and I think they were going for the whole hydrogen powered thing. And I say fuck it. Let's make a nuclear powered vehicles.
Yeah. Let's run off of coal.
Yeah, bring back the steam engine.
Hell yeah.
That would be so sick. Fucking driving your Ford F-150, your engine starts to get cold, so you just turn around and shovel some coal in.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like people have enough reservations still about electric vehicles that have been around for a while that, I feel like the general public would never buy into self-driving.
I don't trust autopilot yet. Like, if you give me statistics and I see it myself, then sure, I'll adopt it, but I don't trust it as of right now.
Okay, I'll give this example. Let's say that there is a controlled city that they swap 100% to automated cars, and because they're all automated, they can all talk to each other. So traffic flows better. There is borderline zero accidents besides like a pedestrian or like a dog running out in the street, like crazy stuff like that. Every car is talking to each other. Every car is like inches from each other. Mm-hmm. So when the light turns green, every car goes the same speed and just takes off together in like a unified line.
Yeah.
And they never diverge. Like,
that's a utopia. If it works, it works.
See, I don't trust it.
But I got to see it first.
I don't trust it because I've seen reports about how car companies are trying to charge you monthly for features on your car.
Oh yeah, yeah,
that'll be part of it for sure.
Yeah, like pay $25 to go home.
Imagine now we're going like real
built-in
apocalyptic
Uber.
Here. Imagine everyone adopts this new wave of cars. You get hit by an EMP. Now you got nothing.
Or not even an EMP, like a solar flare.
Anything,
just some sort of thing.
Would your car right now work if an EMP hit?
Should.
No.
Your computer would get fried.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That actually happened to me when I was living in...
Dude, you got hit with an EMP?
Yeah, man. No, like it was when I was living in 29 Palms, which is in the middle of the Mojave Desert. It got so hot one day, it was like maybe 110 10 maybe, but like the car was reading 120 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a stop sign and I accelerated to go, and then my car just died. And then when they like did the diagnostics, like, yeah, your CPU like overheated, and it just like fried other external systems. It was like $4,000 to repair. I was not too happy about that. So yeah, no, and that was on a 2008 vehicle. So
we got to go further back then.
yeah,
A lot further back.
I'm just presenting the idea that, like, there is proof. If everybody signs on, then it will happen.
Yes.
See, maybe one day, but I just don't trust the companies to not milk it for everything it's worth.
I mean, at that point, you don't even need to own a car. You just order an Uber.
Well, at that point, your car becomes your Uber. It's like, insert your credit card to go home.
But why would you even need
I
it?
think what would be a more viable option is investing in actual good public transportation.
Dude, that would be the dream.
That's the utopia.
But
Walkable cities.
But boo.
I am genuinely in favor of if public transportation was like everywhere. If that's all it was, I would be kind of down.
Yeah, I want some mega bullet train fucking taking me from here to New York City in like 30 minutes.
Sounds ridiculous.
Our body would probably like.
You got to put yourself in cryostasis.
Could not handle the G-force for that velocity, but I want it.
I can't imagine getting to the city you want to be at and your face is pure white and you're about to throw up.
Well, you've never been to New York City because you don't even need to be going fast. The moment you step out, it's just piss, shit, vomit. You're just like, ugh. It's disgusting. Probably, like, don't get me wrong, New York City's cool. It's got a vibe to it. But, man, the stench is terrible. Especially in the summertime, the heat just...
That's part of the vibe. You just don't get it.
Yeah, sorry. I don't... New York.
Picturing the way too fast bullet train makes me think of Roller Coaster Tycoon when you set up a roller coaster that's like way too fucked up and everybody that gets out just immediately turns and hurls. So you got all this puke out of the exit of the roller coaster. Y'all got any topics y'all want to throw out?
I think I'm good.
Brandon asked. Brandon from San Antonio, Texas asked. What future features do you hope to see in Helldivers 2? Returning features or completely new ideas?
I would say for me, just being able to connect to the game.
You left that part out, like outside of server issues.
I already said it. Killzone crossover. Killzone, Terminator, Star Wars crossover.
So you want crossovers in it?
Yeah.
All right.
Turn that game into Fortnite.
Maybe like a Guardians of the Galaxy like skin where
Hell
like
yeah.
you do that and you're just like, oh.
A healing-centric gun would be nice.
So like the returning gun, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or like the guard dog that heals. But man, would that be too powerful? What if it like...
Vehicles.
Yeah, mechs, tanks,
No.
motorcycles.
Yeah, motorcycles.
Pickup trucks.
Well,
Yeah.
mechs are already pretty much confirmed to be coming
Mhm.
in like the next Warbond. So
Okay.
that's
okay.
on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if the healing thing comes. They would just have to treat it similar to how they did in the first one, where it was kind of a drip heal, not like a burst. Because I mean, have you used the shield? It makes you pretty much invulnerable anyway.
Yeah, for those first few explosions or hits.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Helldivers 2 Pal World crossover.
Yeah,
I want the pals in Helldivers 2. I want them with their guns versus the Marines.
So, how about not that, and let's just get another faction. The pals.
The pals.
Yeah. Oh, the pals are
That's what I was
invading
trying to
Mars.
articulate, but I don't know the game at all.
So you realize you can capture them and they become your like airstrikes and shit.
Yeah.
Just throwing lambles
I
at
want
everybody.
Depresso on my team. That's the only pal I know.
I want to see weapon attachments make a return, because I've already got all the stratagems. I have nothing to spend requisition slips on.
That'd be cool.
I want weapon attachments. I don't necessarily need upgrades like how the first one had. I want to be able to choose and customize which attachments I want on my guns.
I would like a tree if you had to like make a choice between like
Fucking tree.
my bad, a weapon upgrade tree where you had to like decide if you want like better range or higher
Extended
range of fire.
mag or a 2x sight.
Yeah,
I get you.
Oh man, I just
I'd be cool with that too.
Me and the boys riding in our Forerunner, driving across some
You'll get it soon enough.
Forerunner.
Yeah. Why not?
Toyota Helldivers crossover.
Yeah, Fortnite Helldivers crossover. Put the bugs in Fortnite.
Built Ford tough. So what's going to be happening with Kingmaker? We're just going to have Ford commercials.
Yeah,
That'll be the dumbest commercial, dude.
that's like an Adult Swim commercial right there.
Only the power of Ford can blow through 500 men in full plate armor.
Yeah, man, I guess that's it for us. If you can, catch us on the YouTube, Twitch, Discord. You can find all those links yourself. I don't know. They're around somewhere. Search for us, Games and Stuff and Things. Thank you for joining me, Suhel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan.
Of course.
Thank you, Brandon.
It's a pleasure and an honor, and I'll never be here again.
Really?
Oh,
Damn.
That sounded morbid as fuck. Are you okay?
You really want the
Brandon.
episode title to be about you all the time, huh? Brandon is retiring.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, catch us wherever you can find us. See you around. Thanks for listening.